Good evening, Patriots, and welcome to the live broadcast of the show. You got any place you could be tonight? You chose to be here with me, and for that, I am forever grateful. Thank you very, very much. What an exciting day we've had today. It has been so difficult to concentrate on what is happening in Washington, D.C., that about an hour ago, I stopped drinking coffee and I switched to, whiskey and Coke. Shout out to my buddies over at Jefferson's Whiskey. Love you. Wow. I don't even know where to begin. I was going to start the show off tonight and tell you that there's been so much crap coming out of Washington, D.C., that I didn't know where to start. I mean, literally, if you've been paying any attention to today, you're kind of lost. And then I thought, well, I'm not going to, some of the things I'm not going to talk about, such as, I don't know, let's see, Trump saying that the U.S. is going to take over Gaza, because I don't have any facts there. I don't know if he's bullshitting or if he's telling the truth. All right. He's gotten more done since the election in just a matter of weeks than Joe Biden did in 4 damn years. It is mind-boggling, and it is driving the left and the Democrats up in Washington, D.C. insane because they don't like it. He is exposing the corruption. He's got this new Dodge folks out there, Elon Musk, trying to find out where wasteful spending is taking place. And the Democrats hate that. And the liberals are all upset about that. Oh, how dare he? Elon Musk is exposing shit like how several $1 million was spent to determine if shrimp would run on treadmills. You could not make this shit up if you tried. That's right. They took little treadmills that they could lower into a tank that would work underwater to see if shrimp would get on them and run. Like, what the fuck is that about? Sending over $1 million worth of condoms to war-torn areas of the Middle East and to Africa. And he finds this shit and says, it's out, and they get all bent out of shape. AOC comes out today, and her panties are in a wad so bad that she's never going to get them out of her crack. It's just not going to happen. In fact, she should start doing Hunter Biden crack because she's about to blow a fuse. And it's fun to watch, I'll be honest with you. You know, trying to say that everybody in Trump's administration are a bunch of buffoons. Good God, lady, have you looked in the mirror recently? You are absolutely the biggest fuck up in the United States of America. You're not the worst fuck up. You're not the enemy, so to speak, because we've kind of put you in a box that you can't come out of. The worst of the worst is Ilhan Omar. She's a fucking terrorist. And she and Rashida Tlaib, their days are fucking numbered. That's right. Their days are numbered. I would just about be willing to put any amount of money on it that before this 4 years are up, Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib will be gone because the House has the power to rid us of terrorist sympathizers. And that's what they are. Okay. So just 30 minutes ago, I said to myself, I'm not going to do this story on Gaza because this is just, I don't know. I don't know if he's full of shit, if he's just fucking with us, or if he's really telling the truth about this. It's insane. We have so many problems that he's trying to fix all at one time. Our border, out of fucking control. It's needed to be taken care of a long ass time ago. And now the Border Patrol has our back. The government's back. All law enforcement on the border does. All law enforcement across America does. We've got the National Guard deployed down there. We've got active duty troops deployed down there. We've cut, quote, this is from the Border Patrol. 90% of the crossings have stopped because of Donald J. Trump. That is amazing. And it's something that has been needed. All right. And it is driving the left insane. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give you just the basics on this whole thing about Gaza that he's talking about. And it just came out recently, like within the past couple of hours. The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, level it, and rebuild the area, Donald Trump said in a press conference today, alongside Israel's prime minister at the White House. The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip and we will do a job with it too, Trump said in a joint press conference. We own it and be responsible for dismantling it, all of the dangerous, unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site. Level the site and get rid of the destroyed buildings. Just level it all out. Create an economic development plan that will supply unlimited numbers of jobs and housings for the people in the area, he said. Do a real job. Do something different. Just can't go back. If you go back, it's going to end up the same way it was for 100 years. Now, I agree that as long as you allow Hamas to stay there, that it's never going to change. It doesn't matter if we get all the hostages back. If we got them all back tonight, guess what? Hamas is going to do what they've always done. They're going to launch rockets and missiles into fucking Israel. Israel's going to retaliate. And the left is going to go all up in arms. Oh my God, how dare you retaliate and kill these innocent people? No, fuck that. They're not innocent. Guess who is Hamas? The boots on the ground, the actual troops. Guess what? They're Palestinians, for crying out loud. And if you've never been to Gaza, like I have, then shut the fuck up. You ain't got no room to talk about shit. I'm telling you, that place is a shithole, and it's getting worse by the fucking hour. We should have let Israel do what they needed to do after October 7th when they were attacked. Fucking give them all they needed. Just go in there and kill these motherfuckers and be done with it. But Joe Biden, Kamala Harris caved to the left and wouldn't allow it to happen. Now, Trump says, we're going to go in there and we're going to take it over. We're going to level it. We're going to rebuild some of it. We're going to take 1 million plus people and relocate them. Who the fuck's going to take them? Who is going to take them? He said there's people going to take them. There's countries lining up to take them. Who? Egypt? Egypt doesn't want them. Who the fuck's going to take them? I'm waiting with all ears for somebody to share that with me, because there ain't a fucking country in the Middle East that would take these fucking people, that allowed a terrorist organization to take over and control their lives and put their military infrastructure in hospitals, in schools, in supermarkets, and use them as human shields. If you're that fucking stupid, fuck you. Okay? Let's just be honest with it. I say back Israel's military 100% and let them go in there and finish the fucking job. But no, we've got a million problems here at home that we've got to take care of, and he's on it. Trust me. He's got more shit done in just a matter of weeks than Biden did in 4 years. What's going to happen over the next 4 years? Oh my God. Are things going to be great for this country? But if you ask me personally, he's overloading himself. Not him. He's overloading us. I mean, we can only do so much shit. And I don't give a fuck about Gaza. I don't. After serving 4 combat tours and 2 of them being in the Middle East, I could give 2 shits about them. Yeah, level the place. Level it with them in it, for crying out loud. Fuck them. We're going to relocate them and rebuild the Gaza Strip. Yeah, it's going to be a great show tonight, folks. Brought to you by Jefferson's Whiskey. Thanks for joining me. Okay, so the next thing that came out of Donald Trump's mouth is obliterating Iran. Something that I've been saying for, 30 years. Just annihilate them motherfuckers. Turn it into a glass parking lot, for crying out loud. But how he put it was, if Iran carries out an assassination attempt against him, whether it plays out or doesn't, and we know from the powers that be in the CIA and the FBI and all those people that have been investigating this, that Iran has sent terrorist squads to America that are here, by the way, thanks to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. And we're trying to find them to rid ourselves of this horrific group. And they're trying to assassinate him. That's fact. If they do this, he put out an executive order imposing maximum pressure on Tehran, which is already going to go into effect regardless. And if something was to happen to him, the vice president has agreed to this. That would be a terrible thing for them to do. If they did that, they would be obliterated. That would be the end. There won't be anything left in Iran. The president said, former President Joe Biden should have said that, but he did not, due to a lack of intelligence. No, it's not a lack of intelligence. He doesn't have any intelligence because he doesn't have a fucking brain. It's not functioning anymore. He was mentally ill when he took office, and it just went straight downhill since then. And even if he would have had all of his brain power there, he doesn't have a set of fucking balls. So Joe Biden ain't going to do shit to terrorist organizations. He gave Iran billions of fucking dollars, for crying out loud, which they used to give to Hamas and Hezbollah and these terrorist organizations to try and kill Israelis and Americans. The Justice Department confirmed back in November that it already thawed an Iranian plot to kill Trump in the weeks leading up to the presidential election. A criminal complaint filed in September of 2024 noted an official in Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps asked Farhad Shakika, 51, of Iran to focus on surveilling and ultimately assassinating Donald J. Trump. Said the United States is a child and was deported about 17 years ago after serving 14 years in prison for a robbery convicted, according to the DOJ. So this guy was an immigrant who came to America and I guess he's now back over there, barking orders for the Ayatollah. He was allegedly tasked on October 7th of 2024 providing a plan to kill Trump. He's not been apprehended. He's believed to be living in Iran, but we don't know. Trump said, "I'm signing this, and it's a very powerful document, but hopefully we're not going to have to use it," Trump said. But he did go on to say that there will be no chance in hell that Iran will get a nuclear weapon. So what I hope is happening, I know for a fact that our military has plans in action waiting to be activated to take out Iranian nuclear facilities, where they're testing nuclear weapons, where they're building launching pads for them. We have the ability to do it as well. I hope that's going to be a joint effort with Israel very soon to do away with their capability, because talking to them will not work. And I believe that Donald Trump understands that. Okay. Moving on. Cheers. A few hundred people, mostly Hispanic, from the news reports I watched and the pictures that are coming out, the videos circulating across social media, the internet, Fox News, CNN, saw thousands of people walk onto an LA freeway and shut it down in protest to Trump's ICE raids against illegal criminals. And what did the mayor of LA do about it? She deployed the LAPD. And what did she tell them to do? Stand in the freeway to make sure that these protesters didn't get hit by cars. Not remove them, not detain them, not arrest them. They shut down one of the biggest and most traveled interstate systems in America, and the CHP allowed this criminal behavior to go on. No CS gas was deployed. No rubber bullets were deployed. Just stood there and protected them. So I have a message to the LAPD chief of police. Resign for not upholding your oath of office. You're a disgrace to law enforcement. Fuck the mayor. What should have been done was deployment of CS gas, rubber bullets, and better yet, do what they do in Europe when these protesters take to try and shut down major streets. Bring in fire trucks and blast those little fuckers with high pressure water. And then pick their ass up off the ground, zip tie them, and take their ass off to fucking jail. If that wasn't enough, throughout LA, they got together and they burned American flags while at the same time waving the Mexican flag. This is un-American. This is uncalled for. And this needs to stop. Or someone with balls needs to step up and correct this problem. You see, we don't have this problem in Republican cities and states. You know why? Because we uphold the laws that are on the books, the laws of our city, state, and country. That's why Antifa and BLM and those that are peacefully protesting to end the war in Gaza and peacefully protesting while waving Hamas flags to take out Israel, they don't come to Republican-run areas. There's a reason they go to Democrat areas where there's Democrat governors and Democrat mayors. There's a reason for that, because they know they won't be stopped. As if the FBI has not lost enough credibility. A group of 9 FBI agents have filed a lawsuit today seeking to block the public identification of any FBI employees who worked on the January 6 investigations in an attempt to head off what they described as potential retaliatorial efforts against FBI agents involved in the probe. So, what about the members of Congress that we know were guilty as fuck? We know because Joe Biden gave them a pardon for any crimes they may have committed during the J6 investigation. You don't need a fucking pardon if you didn't do anything wrong. Of those that testified in front of Congress during the J6 hearings, like the Capitol Police. But you morons think you are special and above the law. That's the problem with your agency, and that's why we, the people, don't trust you anymore. The agents who filed the lawsuit anonymously, I might add, in the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia, because they know they're going to get some liberal judge there, said any effort to review or discriminate against FBI employees involved in the J6 investigation would be unlawful and retaliatorial and a violation of civil service protections under federal law. Cry me a river of tears, you fucking idiots. You pathetic bunch of losers. You work for we, the people. Did you forget that? You work for us. We pay your salary. The lawsuit cited the questionnaire FBI agents were required to fill out detailing their specific role in the J6 investigation and the Mar-a-Lago investigation, led at the time by Special Counsel Jack Smith, aka Subhuman Mongol. The agents involved were required to fill out a survey themselves. Others were told that their supervisors would fill out the form, the lawsuit noted, adding that the employees were informed that the information is going to be forwarded to upper management. FBI agents claim that the purpose of this list is to identify the agents to be terminated or to suffer other adverse employment actions. You're damn right. Each of you are a disgrace to the FBI, a disgrace to law enforcement, and a disgrace to the United States of America. You motherfuckers that went into Mar-a-Lago and all that bullshit you did with the documents, classified document case, yet we find out that you didn't raid Biden's place. No. And you found out that Biden had more documents than Trump did, and then you decide not to prosecute him, but go after Trump. Yeah, that's what you fucking did. Agents claim that they fear that all or parts of this list might be published by allies of President Trump, therefore placing them and their families in immediate danger of retribution by the now pardoned and at-large J6 convicted felons. That's right. The FBI is concerned that those that Trump pardoned that were involved in J6, he didn't pardon the ones that physically assaulted a police officer. No, he pardoned the other ones that didn't do any fucking thing wrong. They were invited into the fucking Capitol, and there's video of that. that they didn't show in the hearings? Again, if those involved with J6 that were pardoned by Trump were going to retaliate against those involved with locking them up, don't you think that they would do so before you guys against Representative Benny Thompson, Liz Cheney, Adam Kinzinger, Elaine Lara, Jamie Raskin, Stephanie Murray, Pete Aguilar, Adam Schiff, and Zoe Lofgren? How about they would retaliate against the special counsel himself, Jack Smith, or the Capitol police officers that testified and lied? The FBI director you nut jobs worked for, Christopher Wray, and the incompetent, lying-ass wipe and former Department Attorney General Merrick Garland. That's who they're going to go after before they'd go after you guys, if they were going to go after anybody. And I hope they don't go after anybody. I hope nobody gets hurt anymore. But this is stupid. How about the J6 people before you guys would go after the DAs and the judges that put them in prison? Well, none of them matter to you guys and girls at the FBI. They just don't. You don't give a fuck about them. So let's say the judge hears your cries and grants it. Well, guess what? The new FBI director will be installed soon. And you're all 100%, I guarantee it, going to be exposed for what you did and terminated. ICE raids to rid our country of illegal criminals, such as those that raped women and children, that murdered American citizens, that brought in drugs and were trafficking drugs and trafficking women and children, gang members, the cartel, and those that have committed crimes in our country are the new chapter in the war on terrorism. Per MSNBC's guest, MSNBC's Kate Fang and contributor Paulo Ramos attacked President Donald Trump's plan to house illegal immigrants at Guantanamo Bay as the new chapter in the war on terror. Convicted felon President Trump's terror campaign, though heightened mass deportation efforts, has led to an increase in arrests while deportation flights remain atypical pre-Trump levels, Fang began in her segment on the Saturday show on MSNBC. So, with more arrests, the federal government has to house those in custody somewhere. Fang referenced Trump's announcement on Wednesday that he signed a presidential memorandum to send criminal illegal aliens to a 30,000 prison migrant facility at Guantanamo Bay as deportation raids continue. Trump emphasized Guantanamo Bay will be used to house illegal immigrants who are so bad that we don't even trust their own countries to hold them. And those that country said, we're not taking them back. There's a reason why a country doesn't want their citizens back. But the Democrats and liberals just can't figure that fucking shit out. Fang then laminated the rights of the people in the prison. That's right. What we're hearing and what we know, the vice president of the National Immigration Law Center said, report on the conditions in those detention facilities that don't provide basic health care. They shackle women, even pregnant women, to their beds. And they haven't had any protections in place for diseases such as COVID. I mean, PEO, the continued dehumanization of migrants is the goal here, right? Fang said. That's exactly right, Ramos answered. First, I'm hearing you like to participate in bestiality. Is that true? I heard it on the internet. Someone told me this, that you like to get on your knees and blow dogs. Do I believe it? No. If I saw a video of it, I'd probably believe it. So don't believe everything you hear, darling. Because the criminal aliens being sent to Cuba didn't start until, guess what? Newsflash, today. So how is it your source knows that they're shackling pregnant women to beds and there's no protection for diseases? How? How's that fucking possible? Just because you hear something doesn't make it true. She went on to say, I think the first thing that comes to mind when you mention Guantanamo, when you mention the report, is war on terror. And that is precisely the point. That is what Donald Trump wants us to think about, she continued. Look, I think if you take a step back, and you look at all these images that we have been bombarded with just this week, Kate, you see ICE raids, you see troops deployed to the border, you see images of military planes carrying immigrants, and now the image of Guantanamo Bay. The point is precisely to get this country to believe that we are entering this new chapter on the war on terrorism. Listen, you lower than Snell shit freak. Anyone, and I mean anyone, in our country, illegally, I might add illegally, who are attacking and killing American citizens are terrorists. Later in this segment, Fang tossed out the race card. Knew that was coming. Accusing ICE agents of conducting raids that only go after anyone who looks brown or black. Really? ICE is only going after brown and black people? You ever been to Central or South America before? Or Cuba? Or China? First off, no one gives a shit what the color of your skin is. They don't give a shit. I don't care. My neighbors don't care. Don't care. So those coming across our border illegally just so happens to not be white people. I'm sorry that people in Central and South America and Cuba and China aren't white people. I'm sorry that people in Iran and terrorists in the Middle East don't have the same color of skin that I have. That's not my problem. It's not ISIS's problem. It's not Trump's problem. So how the fuck is that racist? So I want to say, I think what's so important to underscore here is that these ICE raids are happening right now. They're indiscriminated in terms of who they're picking up and who they're detaining. There actually is the reverse of due process, right? It's, I'm going to take everybody who's brown and black, and then I'm going to make you prove that you're a U.S. citizen, versus ICE saying, I know you're not a U.S. citizen, and I'm here to help you. Bull fucking shit. ICE has a list of who these criminals are that they're going after, you dumb fucks. They know who they want. If there happens to be an illegal alien mixed in with them that's helping harbor them, or their friends that maybe they didn't commit a crime, guess what? If they're in the country illegally, they're going to fucking go away with them. But we're not going after people because they're just illegal aliens. That's not what they're doing. They're going after people that you would not spit in their mouth if they were dying of thirst on the fucking ground. So far, we've arrested several thousand. Just this past weekend, 700 between Saturday and Sunday. And 500 of the 700 not only had criminal records from the past, but they also had current criminal records, and the Biden DOJ let them out of fucking jail. How in the hell is MSNBC allowed to spread this bullshit? Where's the FCC? Well, when the Department of Justice is finally staffed up with people that have a concern and a care for we the people, and that's going to happen like ASAP, things are going to be different. Do you live in Wisconsin? If you do, let me suggest that you send an email to your governor or go on their social media sites, whether it's Facebook or Twitter, and express your feelings about this next story. Go to their website for the governor's office. Let him know how you feel about what I'm fixing to share with you. The Wisconsin governor rejects the GOP draft bill requiring local law enforcement to help ICE agents. Says it's a non-starter. His name is Tony Evers, E-V-E-R-S. He's the governor of Wisconsin. He joins a growing list of Democratic states and local Democrat officials working against federal immigration officials on deportations. First things first. Dear Republicans, you don't need to pass anything involving this clusterfuck. The laws are already on the books. Anyone who harbors illegal aliens is committing a federal crime that is a felony. So what are you passing? Why are you wasting your fucking time with this? Just enforce the current laws and arrest anyone, governor, mayor, city council members, anyone who gets in the way of ICE. So the story is Democrat Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers' office is rejecting efforts by state Republicans to require local law enforcement officials to assist federal immigration officers in identifying and detaining illegal immigrants. Meaning that we're not going to, if we've arrested them, we're going to let them back out on the street. We're not going to hold them for ICE. And we're not going to allow our local law enforcement to go in there and help you take them down or tell you where they're at. So they're breaking federal law, something that Democrats are very good at in office. The Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel report yesterday that GOP lawmakers are drafting legislation that require county sheriffs to ask people in custody to provide proof of U.S. citizenship and report those who cannot to the Department of Homeland Security. Wisconsin, look, besides the fact that you have a bunch of Democrats running your shit that are fucked up, you also have a bunch of Republicans running your shit that are fucked up. The law would also require these sheriffs to work with immigration officials on the warrants. Failure to comply with law enforcement result and a 15% loss in state aid, the Republicans said. How about this? How about no financial aid for any government that doesn't help ICE? Any city or state that tries to stop ICE from doing their jobs or refuses to help, arrest their asses. A spokesman for Ayers referred to the draft bill as a not serious proposal and said the governor would not support a bill that reneges on our commitment to support local law enforcement, first responders, and communities across our state. Republican lawmakers are trying to micromanage local law enforcement decisions by threatening to gut state aid by 15% for our local communities. That's a non-starter, the spokesperson for the governor said. Her name is Britt Cudaback, Cudaback. She said in the Milwaukee Journal in her statement, "We shouldn't be threatening law enforcement with deep cuts. We should be working together with local law enforcement to improve public safety, reduce crime, and keep dangerous drugs and violent criminals off our streets." What in the fuck do you think ICE is doing, you imbecile? They're going to remove them. They're removing criminals off your street. A spokesperson for the office said it's just not a serious proposal, and the governor is not going to support it. First off, the 15% isn't about taking away from law enforcement. It's about taking away from your fucking state. But it needs to be 100%. 100 fucking percent of federal funds. She added, after years of state asking local law enforcement and communities to do more with less, we only just recently secured historic shared revenue increases under which most municipalities will see a 20% increase in state support, and now Republican lawmakers want to essentially take that away. Are you just stupid? How the fuck are you elected in Wisconsin to do anything? I wouldn't hire you to pick up my fucking trash. Legislative Republicans are looking to partner with President Trump to ensure local law enforcement all across Wisconsin are working with the federal government to remove criminals from our communities that are here illegally. Governor said, blindly promised to veto the bill that he hasn't even seen, which isn't surprising since his motto has been to govern by veto. Evans and Wisconsin Democrats' extreme position on immigration make it very unlikely they would agree to deport felons that are here illegal. Again, you don't need to pass a bill, Republicans in Wisconsin. The law is clear cut. Arrest anyone who interferes with ICE doing their fucking job. It's on the books. It's federal law in America. And guess what? Federal law trumps state and local law. Mexican drug cartels are ordering their members to do what? To target U.S. Border Patrol agents with kamikaze drones and other explosives, aim a crackdown at the southern border by the Trump administration. That's right. They're ordering their cartels to launch drones with weapons on them, just like they do all across the country in wars that we're watching happen, to attack and kill our law enforcement on the border and our military members. An internal memo titled Officer Safety Alert cited social media posts and other sources for the warning to federal agents. The New York Post reported, agents were reminded to be very aware of their surroundings and should be wearing their ballistic armor and utilizing their long firearms. On February 1st, 2025, the El Paso Sector Intelligence and Operations Center received information advising them that the Mexican cartel leaders have authorized the deployment of drones equipped with explosives to be used against U.S. Border Patrol agents and U.S. military personnel currently working along the border with Mexico. This is also reported in damn near every newspaper across this country. It is recommended that all U.S. Border Patrol agents and DoD personnel working along the border report any sightings of drones to the respective leadership staff immediately. News Nation, which first reported the memo, reported TikTok posts that other social media sites used by Mexican drug cartels have also advised illegal immigrants to spit and urinate on ICE agents and, while they're in their vehicle, shit themselves. Other posts have urged assassins to target Border Patrol agents. Last week, Border Patrol agents received gunfire from cartel members in Mexico while patrolling in Fronton, Texas. The Texas Department of Public Safety said, and I reported on this last week. The cartel members fled Mexico because of a military presence and sought refuge on an island between Mexico and the U.S., DPS said. The warning comes as the Trump administration has launched deportation raids targeting illegal immigrants with criminal records and enhanced, tougher measures to secure our southern border. Cartel leaders have realized a proactive U.S. presence on the border could cut into their drug and human smuggling profits, the memo said. Last week, U.S. Senator Mike Lee of Utah suggested the idea that the U.S. green light private parties to target drug cartel profit. Congress could or should issue letters of reprisal authorizing private security firms and specialized trained civilians to intercept cartel operations, particularly those involved in drug shipments or human trafficking across our border, Lee wrote on X, formerly Twitter. Focus on disrupting supply lines, capturing high-value targets, or seizing assets like boats, vehicles, cash, gold, or equipment used in criminal activities. Lee suggested it would lower costs to American taxpayers since privateers would be paid a portion of what they captured and bring back to the United States. I got a better idea. Have the U.S. Army that you've now deployed to the border, Donald Trump, Pete Hegseth, have 1st Cavalry send down Apache attack helicopters. Have the U.S. Air Force send down AC-130 gunships and kill every last one of these fuckers. Remember New York Attorney General Letitia James, who went after Donald Trump? Well, she warned hospitals on Monday not to follow President Trump's directive to prohibit sex change procedures for minors, arguing that doing so would violate state law in New York. Trump executive order, which was signed last week, was titled Protecting Children from Chemical and Surgical Mutilation, which I reported on last week. Its aim is to restrict chemical and surgical sex change procedures for minors, children. Across the country today, medical professionals are maiming and sterilizing a growing number of impersonal children under the radical and false claim that adults can change a child's sex through a series of irreversible medical interventions. This dangerous trend will be a stain on our nation's history, and it must end. The declaration goes on to state that the U.S. will not fund, will not sponsor, will not promote, will not assist or support the so-called transition of a child from one sex to the other. In the letter, James argued that refusing to provide gender-affirming treatment would violate anti-discrimination laws in New York. Regardless of the availability of federal funding, we write to further remind you of your obligations to comply with New York state law, she said. The Attorney General of New York doesn't know that federal law trumps state law. They got something in common with the leaders in Wisconsin, don't they? Or the leaders in California, don't they? Or the leaders in Washington State or Oregon. In an email obtained by the Associated Press, the spokesperson for the Greater New York Hospital Association said that his organization was consulting with hospitals about President Trump's order. We're collaborating, work through every aspect of the EO to determine if it's legal and its clinical implications, spokesperson Brian Conway wrote. How about you, Brian Conway? Chop off your balls. That work is ongoing. In a recent interview, senior medical analyst Dr. Mark Siegel explained that the main treatment that will be discouraged under the EO includes puberty blockers and sex reassignment surgery for minors. Puberty blockers, the main one is Lupron, Lupron, which used for prostate cancer. Enough said. It interferes with bone growth. It can potentially interfere with fertility if it's combined with hormones, and it can interfere with your brain. I don't believe that we can say that puberty blockers with hormones don't have long-term side effects, because they do. Surgery, we're talking about cutting off their private parts. We're talking about upper and lower surgeries, taking off girls' breasts, taking off men's or boys' penises and their testicles. I think that that's something that's not reversible and should never be done to children. Proponents of this will say, well, the longer we wait, the more the child suffers. I think there's conflicting research on that. I'm not convinced of that. The importance of mental health treatment for teens and the gravity of the decision to undergo sex change procedures, it can't be changed back. You have a child, maybe not even to puberty yet, that doesn't have a clue if they like men or women. And now you're fucking confusing them with gender. How the fuck is this happening in this country? These children don't have a chance yet to even develop into adults. And these Democrats and these fucking Democrat-run cities and states think it's okay if your son comes up to you and says, Mommy and Daddy, I want to wear a dress tomorrow to school. You think it's okay to take them to a doctor and have their shit cut off. And I'll leave you with this tonight. This is in my own state, and it's pretty damn pathetic. the state chapter of Mothers Against Drunk Driving in Baton Rouge, where I was born, is demanding answers after WAFB I-Team exposed a DWI that was issued by Louisiana state troopers to a local deputy sheriff and was dismissed hours later. It happened in Monroe, Louisiana on Sunday, January 26, 2025, off of US Highway 80. And it's the first time that MAD said they've seen anything like this ever happen. And it's such blatant in your face. Their organization routinely travels across the state, monitoring DWIs from the arrest through convictions. For this to have happened, this is unethical, said MAD Executive Director Sonny Wall. And you're right, it is. The WAFB I-Team received arrest reports which noted that Donovan Stanley, Gin, I wonder if he was drinking gin, was driving a black SUV when he swerved in and out of traffic. He was pulled over by state police, failed a sobriety test, and they could smell alcohol on his person and his breath. He failed a breathalyzer. They observed red and watery eyes, slurred speech, and poor balance. The report states that Jen was arrested and transported to Louisiana State Police facility where he was read his rights and they pertained in a chemical test of intoxication. So they took his blood as well. He submitted to the state's breath test, and the Analyzer 9000 results indicated a blood alcohol content of 0.136 grams. Less than 55 hours later, District Attorney Steve T.E.W. office declined to prosecute the deputy sheriff. The WAFB I-Team asked if there was a problem with the report that the state police wrote. I don't see any issue of what the state police said or what they wrote, the district attorney told WAFB Chief Investigator Chris Nakamoto. I look at these cases as I know this young man. I've seen his work. I'm not friends with him. I don't personally know him, but we look at every case and try to get justice. I do not want to ruin this wonderful man's career, and I've done that for non-police officers as well and will continue to do it. WAFB asked how many other DWIs estimated he's dismissed and how others can get the same treatment Jen received in his office already prosecuted them. Two said he would require a trip to court and a lawyer on their side. They would have to have an attorney set aside the conviction plea. Once they pleaded, it's out of my hands and up to the courts. So they will have to file a motion and set aside their guilty plea and conviction. Wall said our organization is flabbergasted by what happened and believes this is precisely why people have lost faith in our justice system, with the rule of law not evenly being enforced on all citizens. It's hypocritical, she said. It's not only a slap in the face to anyone else that goes through the consequences of getting a DWI, but also the victims who have lost loved ones due to impaired drinking. It's a slap in the face to everyone, to other law enforcement officers. The haste at which this DWI was dismissed is raising many, many questions here in Louisiana. The DA went on to say, this deputy is a young man. He's got a family, and he's got a clean record. When I look at it, I say this guy wants to be in law enforcement, and I'm going to help him. I think he deserves it. This deputy was hired in 2015, and that DA dropped the fucking charges. And folks, it's not just happening in Louisiana. It's happening all across this country. It's wrong. It's pathetic. It's sad. Cops are no different than we the people. They're not. We the people have arresting powers. Citizens arrest. If you see somebody committing a crime, you can arrest them, detain them for law enforcement to come take them to jail. We have to abide, they have to abide by the same damn laws. How do you have cops enforce laws against we the people that don't have to follow the same laws? Does that make any sense whatsoever? No. No, it fucking doesn't. None. It's what it is, folks. Anyhow, you have many places to be tonight. You chose to be here with me, and for that, I'm forever grateful. If you haven't already done so, please like, subscribe to this channel. Please tell your friends and family about it. Make sure you tell them that Mr. Doug sometimes says a bad word, or as in tonight, maybe 50. So don't let little ones be around. But listen, folks, Donald Trump's in charge now. We're going to have real adults that care about this country running things. And slowly but surely, we're going to weed out the bad players in this Twilight Zone movie that we've been living in for the past 4 damn years. And that's a good thing. But it's not going to be just 4 years. If we don't elect Republicans in the House and Senate at midterms, we're so fucked. No matter what Donald Trump does or tries to fix to make America great again. I'll be back on Thursday night. I hope you will join me tomorrow night. Tune in to the program where it'll be me and my wife, where we do our Wednesday night podcast to share personal stuff and things that are not politically involved, or at least we try not to. As always, please say a prayer for our men and women serving in the United States military, our veterans, our law enforcement officers, our first responders, their families, our angel families, our blue and gold star families in our country. May God bless the United States of America. May God bless each and every one of you. Thank you so much for being here tonight. And I will see you tomorrow night for the Wednesday night show with me and my wife, and Thursday night for another episode of the live broadcast of the Douglas Ducote Show. Good night, everyone.